and in space it forged ahead with gusto, winning a series of victories in the cosmos that dazzled the world. In fact, around the end of the 1950s and the start of the 1960s especially, it was not at all clear which side would come out on top in the Cold War. Following a trip around the USSR in summer 1958, Adlai Stevenson, the defeated candidate for the US presidency in both 1952 and 1956, fretted that his homeland was losing ground everywhere against its great rival, both at home and abroad. In some important senses, the USSR remained fundamentally closed to the outside world, and deep suspicion of everything foreign remained prevalent among more conservative officials especially. However, these were also years in which all manner of international interactions, from cultural exchanges and business deals to tourism and education, proliferated and could be felt in the biggest cities especially. Cinemas showed Italian neo-realist films and Bollywood movies, while student dormitories housed Iraqis, Angolans, Poles, Americans, Cubans, and many other nationalities. Foreign film stars, musicians, and writers attracted growing attention, entering the mainstream of youth culture as the period progressed. This was, in part, a result of successful penetration from outside, through broadcasts by the likes of Radio Liberty and the BBC. It was also a result of decisions made at the very top of the Soviet system, as the authorities sought to gain a variety of benefits from opening up and worked to construct a more attractive image of the USSR for audiences abroad. The period under discussion here is really an era rather than a decade. It runs not from January 1960 to December 1969, but from 1953 to 1968. Put briefly, this book presents the death of Stalin in March 1953 as the beginning of a new era, and the Soviet-led invasion of Czechoslovakia in August 1968 as the end point of that era. Of course, almost any attempt at periodization is open to debate. There are, for example, compelling arguments to say that it was not Stalin's death in 1953, but the end of the war in 1945 that really marked the start of a different age in the USSR. A range of social and political developments that would help characterize the post-Stalin years, such as the emergence of new youth subcultures and political mechanisms, can certainly be traced back to before 1953. Key structures that defined the Soviet system, from the centrally planned economy through to the Communist Party's monopoly on power, remained largely unchanged by Stalin's death. Similarly, the vast majority of political and cultural figures mentioned in this book, like many millions of ordinary citizens, had already had their lives, mindsets, and careers fundamentally shaped by the events of the Stalin years. A quarter-century of Stalinism had left a mark so deep that no kind of clean and total break could ever be possible. While it is true to say that the late Stalin years offered important precursors of social and political developments yet to come, it is also the case that Stalin himself represented the single greatest impediment to change. During his last years especially, a host of crucial developments that would go a long way towards defining the Soviet Sixties as an era, from the end of mass repression through to cultural liberalization and much expanded interaction with the outside world, became possible only with Stalin's passing. Indeed, at least a few of the figures who went on to shape the period under discussion had previously been considered enemies during the Stalin years. Many contemporaries also described a new atmosphere taking hold among the Soviet public after March 1953. The writer Vasily Aksenov, for example, recalled of the period following Stalin's death that the mood was that of an absolutely new country. Rather than